Ding, 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 ring that bell. It's time for the Robot Wars on the Big Skinny. If you listened to or read our email, I told you I grew up in northern Jersey where you never ran away from a good fight, even if you were outnumbered. Well, folks, I'm about to be outnumbered and hopefully educated on this trend. I want to welcome in at this time two close friends, investment gurus in their own right that always are serving up great insights on air. Michael Lee of Michael Lee Strategy and Adam Johnson of Bullseye Brief and the portfolio manager of the American Ingenuity Fund. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. So hit me with your best shot. I threw the bomb out there that I think humanoid robots are all hype, no investment opportunity. What would you respond to that?
Yeah, so it's a limited investment opportunity. I think right now all you can really do is buy Tesla. But look, as soon as they're available, I'm getting one. I'll be one of the first customers. I know at least a dozen people that feel the same way. And I'm not like on the cutting edge or doing cool stuff ahead of other people. And like my cousin's got a manufacturing company in the Midwest. He'll buy 10 of them the second he gets his hands on them. That's very much anecdotal, but
so you're
I think
all
if you're
in,
not on,
and the average price of these is going to be what, $30,000 to $40,000, and you haven't even sight unseen you're in on it. Adam, what about you? 50?
Yeah, I think the average price for the Tesla humanoid robot that's called Optimus is going to be $50K. And, if you're skeptical, Lou, that's fair. You're allowed to be skeptical. But I'll tell you right now that Mr. Musk is already building the robots. In fact, he plans to deploy, no joke, actually deploy 10,000 of his humanoid robots, again called Optimus. He plans to deploy 10,000 of them by year end in his own factories. And then over the next couple of years, he plans to ramp up production. He thinks he's actually going to be able to make and sell 1 million robots by 2027. And think about it. You were asking about price. He thinks at that run rate, Elon Musk thinks that it'll cost him 20 grand to make each robot. So if he sells each robot for $50,000, he's making $30,000 in profit. Well, at the run rate that he himself has suggested is possible within a couple of years, that's 30 billion in profit. And just to put that in perspective, his best ever year at Tesla a couple of years ago, he had 15 billion in profit. So I think actually that the humanoid robot is going to make twice as much money for Tesla as the cars, and that's going to be within a couple of years.
All right, punches thrown.
Adam,
I got two counter punches to throw. When has Mr. Elon Musk, I mean, maybe, does he have a good watch? Because his timing has been terrible in terms of things getting to market. And then secondly, isn't Tesla's valuation already reflecting some of the humanoid robots? So is the stock really going to move when this happens?
Just one thing is you'll be able to lease these for like $500 or $600 a month, which makes the paradigm completely different. You're not going to have to stroke a check for 50 grand every one that you want. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, so the robots can take over your life for a low down payment and a quick lease.
Yeah, hey, look, my wife wants help around the house. She's going to get it.
Not from you though, Mike, from a robot. I love it.
Yes, exactly. So look, here's so timing. That's a great criticism of Elon. But he said the RoboTaxi first week of July or first week of June, those RoboTaxis are on the road. Okay, Waymo's cost $250,000. Adam could probably knows the number better. Like, what do these Model Ys cost? They're using as RoboTaxis, 20 or 25 grand. So the SaaS revenue from RoboTaxis coming in, as well as the humanoid robots, it's on like Donkey Kong for Tesla.
Wow. Yeah, all right, Adam, what say you? Another bullish take on Tesla. I want to hear your take on what Mike just shared, but then also, is there any other public pure plays on humanoid robots besides Tesla?
Publicly traded, no. They're all private efforts, or they're embedded in larger companies. So Tesla really is, I think, the easiest and most obvious. Yes, Amazon is trying to build their own robots too, and they will do so, and they will be successful. But the Optimus is the one that's getting attention. And I'll tell you what makes it special. What differentiates the Optimus robot from all the others out there is that it has been trained, continues to be trained on all of the info, all the AI info that is happening in real time with the cars. Remember, the cars can drive themselves, and they can start to predict behavior, like what happens when people run across the street, or what happens when someone tries to cut you off. And it's assimilating all that knowledge. So it's building an incredible knowledge base of human behavior,
Yeah,
reactive
I agree
behavior.
with this. I got to pause you right here because this reminds me of a Reagan quote of like, "What's the 7 worst words in the English language? I'm from the government and here to help." If I see this thing show up at my door, I'm thinking those things. But to your point, you're absolutely right. The AI embedded, that learning is a huge driver. Like I would concede that if you look at the cost to run AI right now, it's going to be driven down even further, which makes these robots that much more affordable. And so I concede that. So you're right. I'll give it to you guys. I'm wrong, dead wrong on the AI component.
Well, I mean, the AI component's very exciting, but you know, we're showing the video of the actual the Optimus, the Tesla robot. And I mean, the articulation, it can play the piano. That's how articulated the hands are. And it can touch gently or it can bang hard. I mean, it's an incredibly sensitive tool. I imagine it probably scares some people. But remember, these things are going to initially be deployed, 10,000 this year, Lou, in the Tesla factories to replace workers.
I'm going to take the over on the 10,000, but I would say this. If Elon Musk gets any of them out there, absolutely the stock's going to go bananas from that. So let me ask you this, another question. Again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I'm actually an early tech adopter, so I think humanoid robots will be a good trend. It's just getting the timing right, which I'm trying to tease out here. But Tesla has notoriously not worried about patents, right? Elon opened up the patents for electric vehicles. If I look at the patent space for this now, Tesla is actually way behind Sanctuary AI. Sanctuary AI has about 200, I believe, patents that are based on humanoid robots, and Tesla's at 16. Does that concern you at all? Like, how does Tesla protect its competitive moat?
Well, so what you're, Mike, I'll go quick and then I'll get out of your way. There's a difference, Lou, between having the programming language that enables AI and then having the actual knowledge base that informs that programming language as to how to behave. Tesla has its own knowledge base because of all the info gathered on the on the streets. So that to me is where the real value is. If it's an open language, you know, you think about the Android phone, that's an open language, but being able to actually create the apps and the components and get paid for that, that's unique to Google.
Yeah, do either of you guys have Android phones?
No.
All right.
No.
We're friends. We're friends. If you had green, I'm out. Like, interview's over. All right, Mike, what do you respond to someone that says, hey, Tesla doesn't have any patents? I get the real world application and practicability and intelligence is more important. What do you say?
Yeah, so here's the argument for Tesla as a whole and why they're going to dominate. It's Elon talks about the assembly line and his ability to manufacture, and that the assembly line is the true product. And it's so when you can scale up a company, so you start looking at Lucid and coming out there, and people love the cars, and they just got a co-investment with Uber, and they're backed by Middle East money. Okay, how are they going to sell it? How are they going to sell 1 million cars a year? And if they can sell 1 million cars a year, how are they going to produce them? So who's going to be able to produce these at scale the way that Tesla is going to be able to? And so, you know, I'm happy you have your patents. Like, I have the money, the wherewithal, the process to put this together, put them on the shelf. And like, I've already got a direct to consumer business model that's been around for a while and wildly successful. That's, I think, is a pretty substantive new word, competitive advantage.
Well, listen, since we're using all these fighting terms, it reminds me of the Mike Tyson quote, right? Like, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So you can have your patents and your jujitsu training, but if you've never had the real world application and the ability to scale and drive down margins, I get it. So I'm a patent first guy, but I think you make compelling arguments. All right, now I'm going to look at it from this. Now I'm coming around your worldview. But then I look and go, what about industrial robots, right? There's companies like Symbotic that are actually deploying their robots in Walmart's warehouses. They go 25 miles an hour, self-charge. That stock's up about 50%. You look at industrial robotics, that they're actually generating a ton of revenue. There's a ton of deployments right now. Why wouldn't I focus there first versus Tesla? Or do you think this is going to be a stock that moves so fast that you have to own it before the inflection point because it's going to be too hard to predict when that hits?
Well, let me jump in on this one because I own Symbotic. I owned it for a long time. We've made about 5 times our money so far. It's trading around $50, and we were buying it around 10. Yeah,
See, I
you're
have
right.
smarter friends because I just started buying about 60 days ago. So Adam, everyone forget what Lou Basenese says. You got to check out Adam because he is always first on innovation. So I love it, man.
Well, sometimes I'm also early. It's a volatile name. And yes, you're right. They're converting all 47 of Walmart's warehouses to fully automated warehouses. That's exciting. GXO Logistics is another one. Brad Jacobs, you know, the guy who founded
From
United
XPO,
Rentals,
right?
XPO, and now he's got this other roll up for buildings products. Yeah, that's one of his. And I would say Symbotic and GXO, the two leading creators of automated warehousing in this country. We own them both. We have for a long time. I don't intend to sell them anytime soon. So I'm now adding Tesla to that group of logistics names. So it's actually a pretty powerful and growing theme within the American Ingenuity portfolio. And by the way, to be clear, Lou, I had never owned Tesla up until I just decided to buy it a couple of months ago, wrote up the report for my Bullseye Brief subscribers, and then I put it in the American Ingenuity portfolio for my money management clients.
Well, my apologies for stuffing Tesla in your portfolio prematurely. I did that to Mark Tepper a few times on air, and he got really mad at me. So I don't want to do that to anyone again.
No, it takes time to come around. And I had never bought Tesla because I only thought of it as a car company. I thought, why would I pay 80 times earnings for Tesla when I can pay 8 times earnings for Ford or GM? Fine. And then I started thinking about it. Is it really a car company? Is there something else? And again, I think they're going to sell. They're going to make more. They're going to sell more robots ultimately than they do cars, and they're going to make a heck of a lot more money by selling robots than they make selling cars. And so when you start to do a sum of the parts, here's what the EV business is worth, here's what the robotics business is worth, here's what the battery business is worth, here's what the AI business, you add all that up together, and I think you get to a price of around $700 for Tesla versus, where is it now? 300, 400, kind of depends on the week.
So a nice double, at least from here. Mike, what about you outside Tesla? And you're not allowed to talk about Palantir because you crushed it with that one. And I still don't understand what Palantir does. And I'm just salty that I wasn't in it. But what other names do you love, tech related or not right now, that related to robots or something adjacent?
Yeah. So look, all the chip makers are all going to play an integral part in all of this because you're going to need GPUs to do this. So Nvidia, I heard you talk about Nvidia earlier today on Varney, looking at 40 times earnings. To me, that number is more like a 25. I think the street estimates are wrong. It deserves a 35 to 40 forward multiple. And then you look at MRVL as well as AMD. You're in a situation right now where the market believes we're in 1997 to 1998 in terms of infrastructure build out. If you compare it to the internet, the AI infrastructure build out, we're at least 5 years away, and the number of tokens needed for large language models is going to surpass that infrastructure availability for at least 3 years, most likely longer than 5. And while you have this demand supply imbalance, it's just you're going to get these companies are going to grow at 30 to 50% per year for the next 5 years, and their multiples. What's baked into almost all of them is the estimates out 15 to 18 months conclude that their quarter over quarter growth is going to go from 10 to 15% down to 1 or 2. And it's just not reality. This demand is going on as far as the eye can see because they're all capacity constrained. So for every GPU NVIDIA sells, they have demand for 15. So to me, the market discounting growth falling off a cliff in a little over a year puts a hamper on all the multiples of these stocks. So at some point in the next 2 or 3 quarters, we'll get a re-rating and then attach it to a growth rate that's north of 25% for all three of them.
No, I completely agree with you. I think you make a fair point that you can't just look at those numbers in just a snapshot because it doesn't fully reflect all the growth that's baked in. We've been talking on the show that GDP in Q1 actually had a full percentage point growth from AI investments, capital expenditures, that the numbers aren't baked in there. But I also think you made a key point that I want to pull out here too, that it's not a zero-sum game. It's not Nvidia gets all the chip components in the robots. There's Marvel, there's AMD. We've talked about a company, Teradyne, that does semiconductor test equipment that generates money from robotics as well. So there's this whole ecosystem related to AI and robotics that I think you can play. To Adam's point, he's now building out this kind of little sleeve of robotics companies in your fund. Are there other names that you like, Adam, that you love? Mike, it's in timeout. You can't punch me again. I got to let Adam punch me one more time.
Well, for logistics, I think those are the big three: Tesla, Symbotic, ticker SYM, and GXO Logistics, ticker GXO. I mean, you could say Prologis, actually, which is the largest operator of high-end logistics warehouses in the country. The fact that they just guided up, actually, a couple of weeks ago, argues for them. They're a little bit more of a real estate play. You could, if you wanted, add data centers into the mix, and apply digital. If you want to build out that theme, you could talk about powering data centers with nat gas powered electricity generators. That would be GE Vernova. You could talk about building data centers. That would be Sterling Infrastructure, STRL. So, I mean, if you really, want to start connecting dots and building out the portfolio in earnest, yeah, you can absolutely go there. But if you want to just talk about pure robotics plays, I would point you to Symbotic, GXO, and Tesla.
All right, Mike, your turn, and then I'm going to let you guys wrap it up with a thank you. But
yeah, I just want to say, like, if you want to look at how robotics can transform an industry, just look at Intuitive Surgical and how well that stock has done, right? And so it's coming across logistics, and I think these humanoids, I'll say what I said to Varney one day, which is you don't need to have your robot inside. Your robot could be an outside robot and have it mow your lawn, even though you live in Manhattan.
I love that, man. Outside robots. I'm down with that. I just don't want to wake up in the middle of the night to have to pee or get a glass of water and then get attacked by my Optimus because it thinks I'm an intruder. So, I have nightmare scenarios, but maybe that's something I need therapy for separately anyway.
Okay, Will Smith.
Listen, I love you guys for always being good sports. I appreciate you entertaining this battle here. How do people, Mike first, then Adam, how do people find you so that they can continue to get your great insights?
Yeah, Michael Lee Strategy, and I think my YouTube is Mike Lee Strategy. Get all my clips up there if you don't watch Fox Business 24/7 like the three of us.
And Adam, what's the best place to find you?
Yeah, thanks, Lou. Bullseyebrief.com, home of the American Ingenuity Fund. I publish every Sunday morning at 7 a.m., bullseyebrief.com.
As reliable as a clock. Hopefully Mr. Musk is as reliable with that timing as you are with your newsletters as these robot launches. Gentlemen, thank you again. Look forward to having you on another time. Or maybe we battle it out, or we're just three guys that are all bulls on one thing. So appreciate your time.
Thanks, Lou. See you, Mike.